Hey riders, here we go. Back in the saddle again. Time for a Watts Fest. How do you like that snazzy little opening? All I can say, thank you, Anthony. Anthony's a member of Team GRC, super supportive, always giving me ideas, throwing graphics at me, and so I'm trying to implement them now. I've had these for quite a while. It takes a lot of time to do all this stuff, your normal life, your normal training, then doing videos, trying to improve on them every time, covering different races, watching different people. Okay, so I'm just going to jump out here for a second and we're going to see where we are today. So we are going to be doing the Waikoloa climb in Hawaii. It's only 8.5 kilometers long with 237 meters of climbing. So that's like just over 5 miles, 5.25 miles maybe, with 700 feet of climbing. The first, I think it's 3.5 kilometers, are basically false flat. Now, I know everyone likes a nice false flat. I know I sure do. How about you, Kraken? And after that, you can see just on the screen here on the profile, then the climbing begins. So the climbing is all wedged into the back half of the course, but it's not crazy. I think max gradients are going to see around 9%. But, it's in a pretty confined space, right? I think the average in the back part of the course is 4 to 5%. So, it'll be tough in places, but this is a really good route. And I always tell people, one of my favorite routes. This is basically an all-out power test. I don't want to say it's a 20-minute power test because some people are going to do this in 16 minutes. Some people are going to do this in 25 to 30 minutes or whatever your number may be. But for me, it's about a 20-minute power test. So that kind of gives me a good bearing as to where my FTP kind of is, just on a 20-minute example. And to be honest, I don't even really believe the 20-minute FTP, where they say 20 minutes and then take off, 5%? Yeah, they always say take off 5%. I've got to think it's probably more like 15% minimum. I don't think I could hold what I've done on this course for anywhere near an hour. Like, impossible. So I think when I got my fastest time on this course, my 20-minute power, and remember, when I say 20... my FTP, that's for 20 minutes, okay? Here I'm adjusting the camera. I just want to show you that you can do this before the ride. In fact, you can do it during the ride. Pretty coincidental because I just had someone pop in and watch one of my starter videos this morning, and they asked that question, hey, how do I change the camera angles? Well, that's how you do it. So I just happen to be doing it for you. So when I got my fastest time on this, 19 minutes, 58 seconds, I think from 2 years ago maybe, or last year. I didn't have a fast bike yet, but I did manage 318 watts for that virtually 20 minutes, 19 minutes and 58 seconds. I couldn't do that for an hour though. There's no way. Even if you took 5% off, even if you took 10% off, I couldn't do it. Anyways, folks, enough of that. Getting to the race here, GRC Sunday Short Race, Waikoloa. It's about to go off. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom. So we're off, folks. 74 people registered for this. 51 started. Let's see how many finish in the GRC group. So there's a ton of names here I know. There's also quite a few names I don't know. I found these rides to be very popular with people. It's a short, intense workout. You can schedule it into your day. Your week, do some long rides. Hey, take a look over on the left here. Here's Global Ragnar right now, just over my left shoulder. He's in the darker color jersey there. Doesn't really look like his style of jersey, to be honest. Usually he likes to wear something a lot more colorful, bold, outgoing, flamboyant, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, love the jerseys. So in a nice little group here, got a bunch of riders around me. You can see Arluzar is right ahead of me. Honest Jack is just up ahead. I can see Dawn as well. So I didn't go crazy off the start here. I just kind of slowly wound my way up. Look at me. I'm sitting in 31st place at this moment. I didn't want to blow myself up right at the beginning and then struggle. So I kind of just took a chill. And to be honest, sometimes when I go into these on Sundays, I kind of feel like, well, maybe I'll just hang back and get a bunch of good footage. But But realistically, what I should be doing is I should do this route myself or something different, and I should sit on the sidelines and watch these so I can get more action. Because there's all sorts of battles going on up the road. Here's Nobby Styles with me at the moment. Maxencios, who I just noticed, Maxencios is now riding as a GRC member, so that's pretty cool. I think I first seen Maxencios at some of the Muckers events. We've got Steven Cycles just up the road. We got Anthony from Canada. Don't forget, Anthony's the one that made the opening sequence for this video. Thank you again, Anthony. I can see Jill's up ahead too. Just behind me, I've got Roger from GRC. He's right behind me right now. And I can just see Dawn creeping up here from behind too. So super solid group here. And, you know, this is all that you can see on the screen. Oh, I can see Holly's up ahead too. So Holly is our ultra lightweight, pesky little climber that rides with Team GRC. She does great every week on climbs, so I expect her to be way out front in this one. It may be a little bit too fast for her this week, but we're soon going to find out. So yeah, Dawn's just hovering behind. So what you got to realize, folks, is that there's a huge pack of people behind me too, and they're just like a second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds behind me. And so you kind of forget about that. Like, so for me, when I'm doing these rides, and I'm working pretty hard now, you know, I'm doing 3.5 watts per kilo up this nice false flatty stuff. And again, we all love false flats, right, Kraken? Where is Kraken? I got to find him on here. So Kraken 71, that's Pavel, part of the Discord and GRC. Always see him around. We can have a running joke about all the false flats we like to ride, because I seem to call everything a false flat for some reason. It's just my style. Okay, so you can only see 3 people behind me, but there's probably another 20 within 2-3 seconds of that. So I know Ragnar's just there. He's hanging out behind me. SR71 is just like probably a couple seconds back. Ender Wiggum from Gurr is here. Great to see. I also noticed earlier that... oh, look, John's ahead of me at this point. So John had a rocket start, and I kind of like just wound it up slowly. So we got a Gurr rider. We got Ender Wiggum here. Seen this rider a lot. Here's Anthony cruising up. And Eduardo Armada for Gurr is here as well. That dude is way out front right now, hitting the big watts. Okay, so let's take a little look what's going on here. So Dawn's creeping up. We got Jill's is right here. Maxencio's SR71. Steven Cycles. There's Kraken 71. Currently 17 meters ahead of me. Now, I'm not really sure if I passed Kraken or not. I mean, remember, this just happened 5 hours ago. I've already forgotten what happened. And look at this. We got Sorinel here too. So we used to ride a lot with Sorinel over the last couple of years. I think Sorinel does a lot of outside rides. He's another Canadian. He's in Ontario. So if you watch the video, follow Sorinel on Strava. You know, friend him. He's always good for a ride. Likes to do some long climbs with us. Not so much recently. I think we've all been kind of doing our own thing, but we'll ride together whenever we can. Okay, so like I'm surrounded by GRC members here. Gurr member, we got Kraken. Kraken's leading the way on my screen, but there's groups ahead of us already. So if you look at the bottom profile right now, the group I'm in is the blue bubble on the bottom. That's me, actually. And so you can see the little other white bubbles scattered out across the course. I do notice that there's a yellow rider, a yellow bubble on the far left-hand side of the profile. Now, I think someone starts this event very late because everyone that started finishes. That's the beauty of these GRC events. We have a really high finish rate because, you know, they're short. We're not going to make them easy on you. We don't want them to be easy. We're trying to balance these between climbers and, you know, the power hitters. We don't want to have just an all-out climbing event because it's not fair to the bigger riders. And some of the TTs may be really tough. If they're longer, they'd be really, really tough on the climbers. So I'd like to see this yellow dot start moving because I didn't notice this when I was riding. I'm too much in the zone at the moment. So jumping back here, we got SR71's behind me. Anthony's there. I can see Tony's there as well. I'm just cruising up on Sorinel here, getting a bit of a draft. And Jill's is just up ahead with Dawn. I think this might be where I kind of start losing contact with him. I felt okay on this. I gotta admit, I'm a little tiny fatigued from my Vegas trip. I still have not caught up on my sleep. But all excuses aside, this is hard. You're trying to, you know, dose your effort. How hard do I go because you can see right ahead of me, virtually at the midpoint, there's 2 white bubbles that are already hitting the first climbs. We're just getting to it now. So how long can you hold 3.5 watts per kilo and then start hitting the hills and not completely explode? That's what you're trying to play here. So split 1's coming up. Another thing I want to talk about, folks, is I do have another video. It's in production at the moment. Now that sounds really fancy, but that just means I got to put some effort into it and do my audio and stuff like that. So on Friday, this almost killed me. Got back from Vegas, 2:30 in the morning. I was up at 4:30, just resumed my life. I was recording videos all day long, off and on. Not 24/7, obviously. That was the Gem City TTT, Team Time Trial event that we did, and I think it was called Shinzuka. About 19 kilometers long. There was 8 teams that took part. I think one team had 4 members, but all the rest had 5 members. So it's kind of like an average of the overall time of the team. It was a group ride, which was really cool. So there's a little bit of a magnet effect helping you in either direction. You can't get too far ahead. But you want to be ahead to help your leader. So yeah, it was awesome. That video should be out soon. Just depends what happens here today in my life. Do I have enough time to record it? So let's look back here. What's going on now? So I'm just currently riding behind Ender Wiggum and this new rider here. Looks like his name is Phil Dormy. Level 1 rider. So give this guy credit for coming out and racing at level 1. I mean, yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen that before. Because when you're level 1, you can level up 2-3 levels in one ride, it seems. Like, the leveling up is very fast when you're down low, and then it takes forever at the end. Okay, so I can just see behind me at the back here, I got SR71, and Kraken is still, I don't want to say the last rider because he's not. He's just 3 riders behind me on my leaderboard. So I still see Kraken, see SR71. I've got Phil Dormy behind me, but yeah, again, check this Phil out. Great job, dude, for like jumping into a race for like what could be almost your first ride. I mean, maybe someone else can tell me, how long does it take on Rouvy to go from level 1 to level 2? We all know it's not very long, right? Throw some comments down below. So we got Ender Wiggum up ahead, kind of getting away from me now, and I can see Jills is getting away. Granddad Rick had a great ride today too. I'm going to take a look at the map here. So it's just a stream of riders. We're riding through all the volcanic lava fields here. I mean, Hawaii is just constantly destroying and remaking itself, forever growing, right? The flows come out, they start breaking down, then they have fertile soil there, and you got stuff growing everywhere. But, when you decide to start building houses nearby, they can be quickly gone. So, I mean, take a look on the right-hand side of the road, too. I think there's 3 giant, looks like probably oil tanks. Or I don't even know what those are. They're huge tanks. I think it showed up on my map view as well. So yeah, Ender Wiggum and Jill start getting away from me here. And Don, Granddad Rick, Bashok's just the road too. Bashok is definitely not 100% because usually he'd be a little bit further ahead. He says he's 95. We'll see. He's been going through some sickness. So yeah, still got Phil, Kraken, and SR71 just, 4 or 5 seconds behind me. At this kind of pace, every 10 meters is about a second. That's my rule of thumb when I'm riding. So when I'm kind of cruising, and I mean, it doesn't apply all the time if you're bombing downhill or going up a brutal climb, but just like a rule of thumb average. If I see someone that's 80 meters behind me, 7-8 seconds, something like that. So I can kind of figure out how hard I have to work to make sure they're not going to catch me. So we are maybe a third of the way up the climb, but there are like parts where it levels off a little bit into more false flatty territory. And I'm hitting it right here. So at this point here, we're in that 4% range, which, you should be able to big ring this stuff if you're, kind of a bit more of a power rider. Maybe some of the smaller riders are just spinning. Like I'm riding here in the 70s, maybe, mid to high 70s at times. Heart rate's getting, it's getting up there. I'm currently sitting at 184, 185. It's probably riding just a touch high compared to normal. Just a little bit. If you've never seen one of my videos before, I always talk about it. My heart rate's always high when I'm riding. It's in the mid to high 50s when I'm chilled out, and it'll blow right through 190 if I'm going hard. But I got a little bit of a Vegas effect on me still. So, 7 days off the bike, 5 days in Vegas, very little sleep. It's going to affect your heart rate down the road. It does get up there. So I'm still doing great here. I'm trying to keep around 300 watts if I can. Knowing that my best time ever, I averaged 318. And I kind of know already I'm not going to do that today. Hey, coming up from behind here, look who's coming. It's Alex of Team GRC. So I've got 3 GRC riders behind me. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them ahead of me with one single GER member wedged in there. And then we got good old Phil, level 1 rider, just killing it here with us. That's really cool to see. So at times here, I'm trying to bridge back to Gilles. And sometimes some riders will slow down, try to help you. And at this point, I'm just telling myself, and I'm hoping everyone else is just doing their own ride. Just do your ride. But as you can see here, Alex is coming up really strong behind me. He's pushing 4.5 watts per kilo there. He's only less than 30 meters back. And hey, this is why it's great to be on a team, because you're going to have allies nearby. They may not be in the situation to help you every time, but when they can, they're generally going to lend you a wheel if possible. So I'm kind of thinking, what's Alex going to do here? Is he going to just blow right by me? Or is he going to help this old guy out? And Alex, being the nice guy, I noticed he's not doing 4.5 watts per kilo anymore. He's just slowly creeping up behind me. I noticed here too that Anthony is starting to pull me back a little bit, and so is Roger. Both lighter climbers than me. I don't even want to put myself in the category of a climber. And they're not ultra lightweights either. They can put out a good amount of power. But definitely I notice a difference on the hills when I'm riding against them. And it's probably my riding style too. They tend to, I think, stand more. And I just refuse to. I can't. I don't feel comfortable. So look at this job here by Alex. He's cruising up right beside me. Yep. This is how you do it. And slowly slots in front and gives me a nice little toe. So here I am. Check the top of the screen. I'm getting a nice little draft here. But I'm also I'm saying to myself, thank you, Alex. I appreciate this. But I'm also telling myself, don't ruin your own race. Do your own thing. Because I'm trying to do my thing too. And I'm getting a nice little rest here. You can see it. I'm not really having to work that hard. I'm kind of under 3 watts per kilo. Look at this, 2.4, 2.3 watts per kilo here because of the assist from Alex. So, but eventually at some point, Alex will probably realize too, Collins doesn't really have it today. I got to move on. So here we actually passed someone who disconnected. So that was Ucrone64. So I'm going to have to look into that because when I saw the stats, everyone that started finished. So maybe they recontinued later. And I'm thinking about it here too. That yellow dot that's on the far left-hand side of the screen, I guess they showed up, but they never turned a pedal. So they were never technically a starter. Maybe that's how it works. I wasn't sure about that. I thought if you showed up, you were counted as a starter, but maybe not. So you can see at this point here, Alex is pulling away. And Anthony is now down to 80 meters, working with Rogers. I remember when I was doing this ride, I'm like, uh-oh, here they come. I've got 2 of them working together, hunting me down. But honestly, I'm just doing my ride here. I'm not getting racy. You can probably see that my wattage is about the same the entire time. I'm not kicking up to 4.5, 5 watts per kilo when I can. Kind of chill. I don't want to say chill. I mean, that's the wrong word to use here. But just kind of the same thing you're watching. Let's take a look at my power. 280, 300 watts. Maybe a little bit over, maybe a little bit under. I'm just kind of consistent that way. So we got Gilles pulling away now. The hills are getting in between us. Alex is starting to move away as well. Don's pushing really hard at the front. And Granddad, Rick, and Holly are riding together. They're riding, basically it looks like side by side. So yeah, kind of a nice little battle there. I wish I could have caught that one. So as I went down a little bit of a hill there before, I pulled out a little bit of a distance on Anthony and Roger, and then here comes Nobby Style. So I know there's a ton of riders just hanging out right back there. So right now, again, they're 10, 11, 12 seconds behind me, these guys. And there's probably a bunch more behind that. So I just got to keep my pace and just keep doing what I'm doing. You know, we've got, coming out of a bit more of a false flat here, we're going to kick up again. You can see it coming right now. But this is kind of the end of the climb. You're going to do a bit of a climb and then a little bit more false flatty, and then it's over. So yeah, like a really, really good 20-minute all-out effort. Yeah, so they're 40, 50 meters ahead of me. Dawn's out 120 meters. Holly and Granddad Rick are almost 200 meters ahead. And you can see there's riders that are finishing now. And so the rider that finished first was under 16 minutes. And happy to say it was Eduardo Armada from the GER team. So great to see him out there just absolutely hammering it. Okay, so I can't see where Bashak is now. He's somewhere off the screen up ahead. But look what's going on behind me. Anthony and Roger, who are better climbers than me, and Nobby too, they're slowly creeping up behind me here. I don't want to think there's too much draft going on there, but probably more of, hey, we can always catch him if we go hard. And you know, at this point here too, I thought I might be able to bridge up to Jills. He's only 52 meters ahead of me. So Jills, again, he's 5-6 seconds up the road from me. And I'm thinking, well, can I? But I don't really make any efforts. I'm just like riding, if you take a look at the screen again, around 300 watts, plus or minus 20, 30 watts either direction, depending how hard I'm pedaling, depending if I'm distracted, shifting gears, whatever it may be. But yeah, those riders behind me, especially Anthony, he's coming back. He's the one that's closest to me. Nobby and Roger are just a little bit further back from that. Okay. So still cruising on here. Yeah, this looks good. Got some crazy noises going outside. I think the dogs are having the Royal Rumble outside in the yard. Yeah, so Jill's at this point, he is just putting out a little bit more power than me, and now he started to pull away from me. So again, I'm not counterattacking, I'm not attacking, I'm just doing my ride at this point. I don't think I ever really go nuts on this one, but I would love to have seen what was going on behind me. Yeah, Dawn's still looking good out there. Yeah, great ride by Dawn. Haven't seen a ton of Dawn lately. He must be busy riding outside because he does live in Florida. He's probably got spectacular weather this time of year. So here we are, folks. You can see here, we're into the last 500 meters. I'm just under 20 minutes here at this point. And if you look at the profile on the bottom, you can see all those little bubbles. There's so many different groups that you can finish with. So what we're going to do is we're going to finish up our ride. And check this out here too. They're still trying to come back at me. Jill's is about 80 meters ahead. And I'm just doing my thing. No sprint here from me. I'm just going to like do my normal ride. As I like to say, I'm just cruising at this point. Heart's kind of coming out of my chest. You can take a look at my heart rate right now. 191. I think at some point I hit 192. So I'm working hard. This is very normal for me. And it doesn't feel like I'm going to pass out or blow a gasket or anything like that. So great job by all the finishers up ahead of me. So what I'm going to do here is finish. I think I kind of even let off at the end here. I think I coasted across the finish line, to be honest. Well, it shows me pedaling. Yeah, okay, I am coasting. So I do remember that part at least. So I'm finishing, and, you know, I was pretty winded here. So instead of doing my normal all-out conversation, I'm just going to continue like this. So obviously this is after the fact. Usually I put my microphone back in and do it. So I noticed this here. Last rider on course was a rider named, I think she's probably, Kraken just finished there. So I'm trying to get to the front now. Here's that Phil Dorney guy, the level 1 rider. See, Phil's leveled up to level 2 during the ride. So I got to say, that was Phil's first race on Rouvy. Has to have been. If he leveled up from level 1 to level 2 during the ride on such a short ride, maybe that was his first ride ever on Rouvy. Could you imagine that? Hey, here's Des riding with Paulo Gallini. I'm just kind of bouncing around here getting a feel as to who's out here. Phil Dorney finishing. I'm going to send a message to Phil Dorney on on Rouvy later and see if he'll tell me if this is his first rider. We got David 1951 here, Marvin Martian, Christoph Patterson, maybe it's Christopher. Here's Danon. Hey, gotta tell you something about Danon. He's pretty awesome at making websites. In fact, you should check out the Gem City website. I'm going to put a link at the end of this video. I'll also put a link at the end of the Team Time Trial video. But yeah, it details all of the, just a quick map view there, folks. Details all the stuff that Gem City's doing. And just so everyone knows, yes, this is a Team GRC event, but we do a lot of stuff with Gem City. Kristen here, Gem City rider. Danon, Gem City rider. SR71, Gem City rider. So there's a few of them here with us, and they're very consistently riding with Gitgar69. Definitely in our Discord group, just coming for the finish here. See, now that things have kind of settled down and that big group behind me has finished, I can start focusing on other folks. So you can see here that if you were to jump in this race, there's a ton of different people you could ride with, tons of different levels. So I missed all the finishers behind me, like Nobby, Just Caught Kraken, SR71, Global Ragnar. I missed all of them. Roger. I can't even think of all the other names. There's so many of them because they're finishing just seconds behind me. Check this out here. We've got David 1951 and Steve. He's 19, Steve 55, and he's putting a push on here. I got to think these guys are close in age, and Steve's going for the pass. Can David react? David does. Holds his position. I thought that was a fun little sprint there. We got Marvin Martian coming for the finish here. And so most of these riders are going to finish kind of at their own pace. They're all just a couple hundred meters apart. But just think about what I just said there. It's a couple hundred meters. So if you're nervous about racing and you think, well, I don't want to be dead last, there's always someone to ride with. And actually what I thought was really good, hey, here's Ciderman cruising up on... we got Eat More Cake behind Ciderman. Ciderman's chasing Honest Jack. So these riders, there was about 5 of them coming in. I think I go to a map view at some point here. There we go. That kind of just blew my mind how I did that there. There's 5 riders all on the line here, all spread out by about 100 meters. And I was wondering, is something going to happen here? Here's Danon. Danon's chasing Eat More Cake, our Welsh rider. Chasing Ciderman, chasing Honest Jack, chasing Christoph. I'm just going to say Christoph for now. It might be Christopher. I'm just saying within last name Patterson, I'm going to think it's a Christopher. Gotta say that, right? Yep, so here's Eat More Cake. The perennial GRC event rider. And then we've got Danon, Jay Margolius. Good to see him out here. Kristen's coming up. Actually, Kristen and Jay are riding together. I'm not sure if Jay is Jeff. I think it might be Jeff. I'm just going to say Jay for now. You know I like to make up names for people. So we got Jay Margolis. Here's Ciderman finishing. Ciderman, I love ciders. Love them. That's about all I really like to drink. That and rum. Okay, let's not get on that. So yeah, check this out. Got Kristen here. Gem City rider. Jay Margolius. Side by side. Riding nice. They're back in, where are we here? 45th and 46th place. Danon's a couple hundred meters up the road. So Danon's 20 seconds up the road from these two. Then we got Paulo Gallini is chasing Gio Merlin. Yeah, Paulo Gallini is chasing Gio Merlin. I think I remember Gio Merlin's name. Take a look at this. Kristen is going in deep here. She's dropping some watts, up to 4 watts per kilo. You can tell Kristen's a lightweight rider. And just put a dig into Jay and pull out a 20-meter gap here. So you can see here too, 45th, 46th place, you got people to ride with, but no one's slouching at all. Kristen just made a quick move there and bridged away from Jay. Everyone's competitive. Everyone likes to have fun. Great job with these two riders sticking together and then having their own little battle at the end there. That was H. Rico. So here's Paulo Gallini and Gio Merlin riding together. Now, at one point here, one of them starts pulling away from the other. Yeah, it looks like Gio Merlin. No, maybe it's Paulo Gallini. What is going to happen here, folks? And then we still got at the very back, we have a rider called Abby Lone. And I'm going to say it's Abalone. That's what I'm kind of thinking. Maybe there's a play on words there. Like abalone. We've got Dez here as well. a.k.a. Didier. And he's only known as Didier by me, so no one mistake that. The first time I saw him riding, I was probably in a delirium following a race after I'd finished, and I never saw the dots in his name, so I called him Didier the whole race. He's very far from a Didier. He's a Des. He's from the UK, so I'm keeping that straight from now on. So yeah, you can see here, Des is in 50th with Abalone, maybe, in 51st place. And Abalone is riding really strong here, closing the gap on Des. Okay, so here it is. Gio Merlin has pulled away from Paolo Gallini. You know, both riding nicely together. Maybe a bit of draft, not a lot here. So yeah, check this out. Abalone is riding, 3.5 watts per kilo. Looks like an ultra lightweight climber. So is going to close the gap on Des really quick there. It looked like she was like somewhere less than 60 kilograms in weight. So she's the last woman rider on course. I don't actually know if she started when everyone else started. That's what I'm trying to figure out here. It's hard to go back and look at it. It's easier when I follow it from a distance when I'm not involved in the race. But yeah, so we still got 5 riders out here. And so like I said, keep remembering that. 51 riders started this event. And we got 51 out there still. I think that's really cool. H. Rico coming to the finish. This is the first time I've ever seen H. Rico, so thanks for joining us. Hope to see you again next weekend. Gio Merlin's pulling a little bit of a gap here on Paolo Gallini. And you can see here, these are all the riders here. That's Didier, and then we go back to like Abalone. They're all right here. There's not much of a gap. Okay, so yeah, Abalone has passed Des at this point. She's pushing over 3 watts a kilo up the hill, being like a, let's just say 56 kilogram rider, something like that. She's just going to like rip up any hill. And that's what they do, these lightweight, pesky climbers. Okay, so Paulo's over the worst of the climb. H. Rico just finished. You can just see them on the profile on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. Abalone's still flying, still pushing, cranking up over 3 watts per kilo at times. She's in the false flatty stuff now. So something's gone up front that I missed. It's Paulo's gotten past Gio Merlin now. Just taking a look at that. I'm not sure when I'm going to bounce back to it. So like, obviously if I was doing this, watching it go down, I'd be jumping to them quickly, but just on Abalone here for a little bit. Des is just kind of slipping back, but he's only 100 meters back at this point. Not much at all. Okay, yep, here we go back to Des. Checking him out. He's doing fine here. Heat's not getting to him too bad yet. Yeah, I got to get back to Hawaii at some point. I went last March. No bike. Just did the real touristy stuff, Waikiki, the USS Arizona. That was incredible. The Missouri's there as well. You could do a day trip and do that. That's like a big tour, I think. And that thing is so impressive. But yeah, seeing the Arizona, wow, chilling. Did the Diamond Head thing. Went to the North Shore. We met a local dude who took us to this. He worked for a company that took you to this turtle place. It's out by Diamond Head. You can go scuba diving out there and snorkeling. We did all that. Here's Paulo come to the finish. Let's keep it on Gio Merlin here for a second. I just want to watch Gio Merlin finish. Because Gio Merlin, for some reason, does not show up on the time board. So he's got a time on Strava. Here's Abalone again, catching Gio Merlin now. She's just 3 watts a kilo all the way. Lightweight, even on this false flatty, it really helps her. It's a great job here. I don't know who this rider is either. I'm going to send them a friend request, send them a message. Let me know who you are. So yeah, here she comes past him. Gio Merlin doesn't really respond. Probably tired. Give him that. Puts a little kick in, tries to get in her wheel, but she's carrying too much momentum and she's gone by. Now, I think I get within a couple of meters of seeing Gio Merlin finish. And actually, he puts in some power. He's finishing strong. Nice job. Nice job. Puts a dig in. And I probably don't watch him cross the finish line because I bounce back to Des. And so I can see Gio Merlin up ahead. He's still moving. And now he's on the right-hand side of the screen, and there's no one left on the leaderboard. That means Geo Merlin has finished. So we just got Des out here. So again, yeah, Hawaii. I met that dude on that trip. He picked us up 3 days later. We said, hey, dude, we just want to see the entire island. He drove us around the entire island. We went to the North Shore. Check this thing, the coolest thing ever. He says, hey, do you remember the show Lost? And we're like, yeah, that's one of my favorite shows. He's like, I was an extra in there for like, I think he was in the extra for like almost the entire show. And so I started watching again. You can see him. He's one of those guys in the background carrying things around on the beach. I think he does have a couple lines in the show. His name is Jimmy. James. Cool dude. He's in the show. Trust me. Anyways, here's Des finishing. Great job, Des. Just keep consistency, keep showing up, keep riding, get stronger every time. So anyway, folks, that was another ride. Another GRC event. Thanks again for Anthony for this. You the man. We'll catch you again real soon. Thanks, everyone.